This video was commissioned by my Asbantium level patron, FaolanCortez. You can commission your very own review right now by going over to my Patreon page. Well, here we are again. It's commission time, or as it's basically come to be known, FaolanCortez pays me to talk about the ponies. Indeed, after my 2 reviews of the more recent iterations of My Little Pony, I have now been tasked with taking a look at the past of the franchise, Friendship is Magic. This so-called 4th generation of the franchise is the most recognisable and well-known era, running from 2010 to 2019. This meant its fanbase was signal boosted by the rapidly growing and developing modern internet, especially because of the unspeakable acts certain fans did to ponies and jars. But all outside circumstances and fan behaviour aside, what makes Friendship is Magic so popular, and is it accessible to outsiders like myself? Well, that's what we're here to find out today by reviewing the opening 2-part story, Friendship is Magic. Yeah, they probably spent weeks trying to come up with that one. And this time there's fan art of me too, although there are no prizes for guessing who commissioned them. Check them out, they're actually pretty good. A big thank you to the artist who made them. And now, on with the video.
Let's get this over with.
So, after doing some research, one of the key aspects of My Little Pony seems to be the ever-changing setting. Each generation takes place in a different universe, all with different features, like there being humans in the first generation and never afterwards. Probably because the optics of that are kind of weird. But since Friendship is Magic is the beginning of an entire new generation, it had to pack a load of world building into its first story. Right from the beginning, the opening scene immediately creates a very fairy tale vibe with its exposition and world building. We're introduced to the legend of 2 sisters, the Sun God and the Moon God, with the latter becoming evil and getting imprisoned in the very moon she controls. It's an interesting exposition scene that's easy to follow, setting the stage in a good and smooth way. It's actually really interesting to have these kinds of godlike presences, since you can draw parallels to real mythology, like the chaotic messy families of Norse mythology and the obvious comparison to the Christian God and Satan. If you're unaware of the story, Lucifer was one of God's most trusted angels, until he rebelled against God and was sent to rule over hell as punishment. This is very similar to Celestia and Nightmare Moon, so it's a good way to create a parallel within this fictional universe and make everything seem realistic and believable. Although if you're Christian, then it actually is real. Don't go down the dimensional merge rabbit hole, you'll never be the same. But my point is that these ponies, as fictitious as they are, still have full belief systems and actual religious faith ingrained within their society. It makes them just like us, although the key difference is that their god actually walks the same earth as them. One of Celestia's prized students is the unicorn Twilight Sparkle, who has an annoying little comic relief dragon buddy called Spike. He sucks. And yeah, apparently dragons and other mythical creatures exist in this universe of horses and ponies. No idea why. But it's still not as weird as ponies having human objects like books and pens, which they surely shouldn't be able to use due to their lack of fingers. I will never understand this society. Also, they have human-like houses with human-sized doors. So wait, did the dragons wipe out humanity and horses evolved in the centuries after? That would explain a lot. But to get back on topic, Twilight wants to find out about the elements of harmony, the crystal MacGuffins responsible for locking Nightmare Moon inside the moon. But as it happens, they're on the brink of her breaking free of the imprisonment and bringing eternal darkness back to the lands of Equestria. So they're basically a day or 2 away from the second coming of Satan, or as I like to call it, a Tuesday. But instead of being concerned about the return of her evil sister, Princess Celestia instead just tells Twilight to politely do one and conveniently sends her away with a menial task. Kinda like when an insecure monarch sends a threat away to a far off kingdom or colony to get them out of the way. Definitely not suspicious at all. Yes, Twilight Sparkle is sent to Ponyville, which is basically like London being called Human Land. Nothing unsettling about that at all. Once there, she goes on a quick whistle-stop tour meeting all her soon-to-be friends. And therefore, so will we. First of all, there's Applejack, the very stereotypical southern cowgirl complete with a hick accent.
Well, how'd do, Miss Twilight? A pleasure making your acquaintance.
Also, I have a sneaking suspicion that she likes apples. Not completely sure, but it's just a hunch. One of those things you can only pick up on with years of experience as a critic. But I don't know, it might get clarified in a future story storyline, who knows. But after being guilt-tripped into eating enough apples to monopolise the smartphone market, Twilight then meets Rainbow Dash, every Jar's favourite pony. Rainbow Dash is a Pegasus, a flying race capable of manipulating the weather for unspecified reasons. Whilst Applejack's introduction is fun and charming, Rainbow Dash's is just kind of annoying. She straight away makes Twilight all muddy and then mocks her for it, along with acting really arrogant, and I just can't stand the voice acting for this character. I guess we all have that one infuriating friend who thinks they're cooler and funnier than they really are, so Rainbow Dash is quite accurate as an unlikable friend. Not sure that was the point though. Next up is the fashionista Rarity, who is the whitest upper class fashion designer possible. No, literally, she's bright white. She's all glamorous and Spike immediately starts to simp for her. But how would an interspecies relationship here work? Would it be like Donkey and Dragon in Shrek? Good luck bleaching your brain to get rid of that horrible mental image. After a fun fashion montage and Spike acting like a Twitter simp meet and Belle Delphine, we meet the famous bard Jaskier, who is trying to organise his newest prison rap band. Wait, no, I'm watching the wrong show again, aren't I? What I meant to say is that we meet Fluttershy, whose main characteristic is, you guessed it, her shyness. I kind of feel bad for her. I mean, I don't know what her parents were thinking. It's like me being called Harvey socially awkward. At that point, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is probably the most fun of the introductory scenes, having Fluttershy too nervous to say her name and resorting to awkward squeaks instead. I don't know why, but it really tickled me and made me laugh. She's also obsessed with animals, especially birds and Spike, and she's kinda like me the moment you get me talking about Doctor Who. It's an entertaining moment and really lets the character dynamics shine. Lastly, we get Pinkie Pie, who just loves parties. That's about it, there's not much to her. She's just an overexcited basic white girl after half a Smirnoff Ice. Each of the main characters has one or two prominent defining character traits that dominate their personality. Now, in most cases this would be unimaginative and one-dimensional, but I think it works well here. First of all, it's mainly a kids show, so you won't exactly be getting Breaking Bad levels of character nuance. Instead, they basically represent the types of people you know throughout your life. The extreme extrovert party types, the shy socially awkward people who light up when they talk about their favourite things, the vain and fashion obsessed types, you get the gist. And of course, Twilight is the studious introvert who wants to avoid people as much as possible. Together, the main characters in the show are representations of the broad spectrum of personalities, which make them relatable. Each one is able to appeal to certain types of people, and that's the perfect way to approach a show like this with so many characters. Combined, these ponies basically form every individual out there. At any point in your life, you can be one of these characters. It just depends on the context. So they both work individually and as a combined group to represent anyone watching. And keep that combination in mind. It might be important. Pretty much the entire first episode is dedicated to Twilight Sparkle meeting everyone in Ponyville, which makes sense. They frame and pace it well since it's her task to inspect each of the different areas of the festival, in turn introducing her to each of her new friends. It's not like they're piling characters on, they actually get integrated into the story, which feels smooth. However, just as the ponies are celebrating the dawn of the longest day of the year, Nightmare Moon indeed makes her escape, showing up like some sort of Dark Souls boss. Yes, we get a big cliffhanger as Nightmare Moon returns and makes a truly horrific and evil promise to make night last forever. So basically she's gonna make them all live in Finland. Could be worse. It does feel like this return could have had a bit more of a build up, since almost the whole episode is just introducing the cast, rather than building up this legend and mythology of the two sisters. All the preparations for the festival seem to happen instantly, and then Nightmare Moon just shows up like Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers.
After 10,000 years, I'm free! It's time to conquer Earth!
It feels like they could have waited until the second part to introduce one or two of the protagonists, since the end of the episode happened so quickly and without much fanfare. They ran out of time, and the cliffhanger really speeds in out of nowhere just as it felt like things were actually getting started. But now that Equestria has been plunged into eternal darkness and Eurovision, our 6 ponies now have to seek out the Infinity Stones, the elements of harmony, which conveniently match up with each of their main characteristics. Very convenient that. I bet that's never going to become important down the line. Definitely not. This quest is a really good way of forcing the protagonist to bond with each other, facing all sorts of adversities and disasters. It's a common rite of passage in life, finding friends in the face of adversity. Whether it's a small group of friends growing up together, or entire nations on the brink of war, we often forge alliances when we have the most to lose. It's how you find out who is truly willing to stand by your side and help pull you through. We see this as Twilight learns to trust the others. She has only just met them that same day, and she has consistently scoffed at the idea of them being friends because she thinks they're annoying. And in Rainbow Dash's case, she's right. But when it comes to a life or death situation, she decides to trust Applejack and take a leap of faith, allowing her to be saved by Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. She wanted to go alone, but they refused to let her, and now she's realised they're genuine. She can actually trust them. It's a good way for this very shut-off character to finally open up a little bit. With part 1 about meeting the characters, part 2 is all about showcasing their abilities in the field, like Rarity replacing a sea serpent's moustache with her tail, and the Pegasi using their flying abilities to solve problems. There's also Pinkie Pie bursting into song to make them all laugh in the face of fear, but I hate musicals, so my eyes and ears just glazed over during this whole scene. The song is really bad. One of the notable messages from the sequence is when they're attacked by a manticore?
And the Manticore, he wasn't even in this song!
Well, that's one I never saw coming. This encounter is essentially a mini parable, teaching young viewers the importance of not jumping to assumptions. It seemed at first like the Manticore was a big evil monster, but it's actually just riled up because of a thorn stuck in its paw. It's natural for people to lash out in pain and to double down on their anger when people push back, but sometimes you just need to listen to them and be nice and kind, which is shown here as Fluttershy doesn't jump to conclusions like the others and instead sees the real issue, proving the value of empathy and understanding. It's a very valuable moment for both the characters on screen and the audience, since things aren't always what they seem to be at first. This also applies to Rainbow Dash. Despite her being insufferable, her segment is another really important message and theme tying into friendship, obviously. When we first meet her, she's talking all about how she wants to join a fancy aerobatics flying squad. So now Nightmare Moon tempts her with that exact wish. But the catch? She'd have to leave all her friends behind in a literal us or them decision. This is the opportunity Dash has always wanted, everything she has ever dreamed of, but to achieve that dream would come at the cost of abandoning her friends. The scene represents never sacrificing your friends for fame. Sure, you'll have everything you dreamed of and you'll be a star, but you'll never have true friends again. You'd end up with fake friends chasing clout, everyone around you using you for their own means and trying to make a name off your back. So you would ultimately end up alone and miserable. You should never forget your roots, and that's what this scene represents. These are her friends, the people who will stick with her through thick and thin. She can't just selfishly abandon them for this sudden opportunity, and that's why it's great that she doesn't. It's not like she realises it's a trick or a scheme. She just stands by her morals and holds true to her friends, and that seems to just sum up the entire franchise in a way. After each of the characters succeed in their individual trials, they find the elements of harmony, just for Nightmare Moon to steal them, beat Twilight, and then break them all. Damn, guess it was all for nothing. But no, what actually happens is the group realising they each represent the spirits of the elements. Wow, what a surprise, I never could have seen that one coming. And the mysterious sixth element activated by friendship? Magic! Oh, so I guess friendship really is magic. Then they all Power Ranger morph and get funky jewelry, saving the day and bringing the sun back to the world because the magic was the friends we made along the way. Wait, no, that's actually the message. Makes a change. Cynical adult media critic glasses aside, it's a sweet climax to the story that matches the themes very well. Individually, each of these characters are strong, but together, their friendship and their bond achieves even more. It's a tale as old as time. You can be powerful on your own, but you will always achieve so much more working as a team. They each contribute something different to their success, and it shows the strength of their group dynamic. But then Celestia shows up to pretend she totally had it covered all along, and had planned for Twilight to save the day. Oh yeah, definitely. And much like Fluttershy's lesson, she reconciles and forgives her sister, Princess Luna. Wait, that's you?
By that logic, you're dating a pony.
No, wait,
Harbo's dating a pony.
No. And then everything ends with a giant party. It's just a shame there's no Algae's municipal band and Boss Nass standing there ready to shout, "Peace!" Friendship as magic is all about friendship. Shocking, I know. It's a very different story to A New Generation, which had a lot of social commentary and deep-rooted themes about political issues. Instead, the themes of this two-parter are a lot simpler, but well executed nonetheless. It's full of important messages about overcoming adversity and being stronger working together as a team, rather than trying to be a lone wolf doing it all alone. The characters are mostly all immediately endearing, with their different personalities serving as representations of reality, reflecting real people you know throughout your life to make them relatable. These personalities also tie directly into the story in a nice way, resembling the elements of harmony, so there's some nice cohesion there. I don't mind that the main narrative and storyline take a bit of a backseat, since it's an opening story centered around introducing the characters and allowing space for plenty of world building. It crafts a deep and storied world full of gods and mythical beings, so it sets up a fascinating world to explore. I can't deny I found this two-parter less enjoyable and interesting than A New Generation, but it's still entertaining. There are some genuinely humorous moments throughout, and some of the character interactions are brilliant, so it's worth a watch if you're interested in getting into the show, which means it does succeed as an opener. And that's my review of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Friendship is Magic. It's not something I'd have ever watched if it wasn't for commissions, so if there's anything specific you'd like me to review, make sure to head over to my Patreon, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. And I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my Asbantium level patron FaolanCortez, my Platinum level patron Keelan Gillespie, and all my Gold patrons Calvin, Daniel Shillito, Franz Horn aka Line Vortex, George, Herna Verzog, and Luke_SY. Thank you so much for your support.